Welcome to Releasing Your Neck and Shoulders today. Thank you for joining me live. I'm kind of giving you a little tour of all over my house. So I wanted to get this video online because I've had a lot of clients and a lot of friends and family that are struggling with neck and shoulder pain right now. And so I wanted to show you a couple moves that you can be doing at home that'll dramatically not only improve your pain immediately, but then also really take care of the problem long term and retrain your body on how to let go of this more permanently. So again, using some of the somatic theory. So the thing about somatics, if you're not familiar with somatics, it's a neuromuscular retraining therapy. So the movements not only release the areas of tension, but you're actually using your brain to recreate a new habit or reteach a new habit. So as you're doing this, what I want you to think about is not stretching, but lengthening and regaining control. So a lot of us are dealing with, sitting. I'm going to scoot back a little bit here. Sitting and resting. We're trying to move as much as we can, but a lot of us are drooping, looking at our phones, or drooping in the couch, watching TV. And I want you guys to take a different approach from neck and shoulder pain. So this is something I commonly get. It's probably, I'd say 50% of my business. 50% of my business I feel like back pain, or I'd say 40% is back pain, 50% is neck and shoulder, and then the rest is different issues that people have going on. So the main reason I believe, and if you think about it, and it completely makes sense, that we aren't able to resolve neck and shoulder pain on a more permanent basis is because we're not really fully taking control of the actual problem. What we tend to do is treat symptomatically. So if you have neck and shoulder pain, what am I going to treat? I'm going to treat my neck and shoulder pain. But we don't look at the whole picture. So if you really take a look at that neck and shoulder pain, you'll see that it's a bigger project than you actually think it is. But it sounds bigger, but it's actually a little, once you realize what is going on, then it's not as complicated instead of just being in this mysterious pain as you would think. So just think about it. If I have neck and shoulder pain, I'm going to turn to my side here, and I'm working at a computer all day, or I'm like what we're doing right now, we're on our phones. Not only are we on our phones, I'd like to add is that we're also going into fight or flight a lot right now because we're very high anxiety, high stress. The natural instinct with sitting, being in any kind of stress or fear is to protect. So let's not even look at the physiological things that we're doing, which is sitting and watching TV, being on our phones and things like that right now, not moving as much. Let's look at the psychological thing that's going on in our brain that could be causing our neck and shoulder pain. So whenever we are in danger or we need to be running from a situation, our body's innate reaction is going to be to protect. That reaction is actually created from something very primal where we go to protect our soft tissues and our organs. So we have something that's triggered in our brain that makes our body curl inward. So let's just look at that for a second. So I'm stressed out. All the world, we don't know where it's at. What am I going to do? I'm going to do this a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to sit on my phone all day and do this. So not only, as you can see, is I'm drooping more and more forward. So what I'm doing as I'm doing this throughout the day, or as I'm fearful all the time, or having high anxiety, I'm training my body to hold like this. So even when I get up, I'm going to be walking around stooped over. So why I'm talking about that in a neck and shoulder video is because, as you can imagine, if we're stuck like this, look at my head and my shoulders and my neck. So if I want to get out of head and neck pain and shoulder pain, what am I going to do? I'm not just going to work here, because let's say I just open up my shoulders and I work on the neck a whole bunch, like doing massage or stretching. Okay, maybe I fix myself about that much. I still haven't fixed the actual problem in the core body, which is the depressed chest, rounded shoulders that's caused by the habitual tension of sitting, being at a computer, looking at our phones, being fearful. So I want you to take a different approach that whenever you're doing any kind of neck and shoulder pain, start with the core first. You hear me talk about this a lot because it's really, if the core isn't happy, nothing's happy. So I'm going to go ahead and start going into the movements. Now the movements, the first thing you want to do is address that. If you have ever done any of my classes, we do something called arch and flatten. You can look at the previous classes that I have on YouTube. There is a video specifically for arch and flatten. You can do arch and flatten before you do this first one, which is the arch and curl. The arch and flatten kind of builds you up to the arch and curl. If you're already familiar and have control of arch and flatten, you can go ahead and just start with this one. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to lay on your back. Okay, good. You guys can see me. Your feet and knees are going to be hip width apart. And your hands are going to go behind your head. And what I want you to do first is just focus on what you're feeling. So your hands are going to be behind your head. You're on your back. Kind of wiggle around a little bit. Make sure you're comfortable. You want to do this on the floor on a mat. I'm doing it on carpet with a little with a little tapestry underneath me, so it's a good feedback. So what I want you to do first is you're just going to do an arch and flatten. If you're not familiar with that, I'll go ahead and show you that. It's a deep inhale in, and I'm going to arch my low back, keeping my pelvis on the floor. And then slowly exhale out. Pause in neutral, deep inhale in and neutral. And on the exhale, start to tuck and flatten my back. So I'm bringing my pubic bone up towards my sternum and I'm rolling forward. Okay, so now that you've done that and you see what that is, go ahead and do this a couple times very slowly, and I want you to feel what your head does. So slowly start to take a deep inhale in and arch the back. Okay, the head starts to feel heavy in the hands, and then slowly exhale out. The head becomes light and you go into neutral. Deep breath in neutral. Exhale out, start to tuck that pelvis. Tuck it, now really, really tuck it. And what you're going to notice is that your head actually becomes lighter in your hands. And then slowly release it. What that is showing us is that our bodies, if we're tucked forward, like I was just talking about, rolled forward, our pubic bone's up, our shoulders are rolling in, it's going to pull our neck and our shoulders forward automatically. So what I want you to do next is I want you to add a little bit of more oomph to that to give it a little bit more of a curl forward so you can really engage those muscles in the front body. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because the big thing about somatics, the big thing about reteaching our bodies is that we have to go into more, it sounds weird, but when you have a contracted state, when you're contracted forward, you're getting pulled forward all the time, you can't force your body to relax. What you actually have to do is you have to contract forward more, really contract, and then slowly guide your body out of a contraction, teaching it how to release. So again, this is the difference between stretching and forcing and actually changing the habit permanently. This is permanently changing that rotation forward. So go ahead and watch me. I'm going to do a curl forward here. So deep breath in. I'm arching my back. Exhale out. Pause in the middle. Deep inhale in. Exhale out. And tuck. And when I can tuck as much as I can, I'm going to use my upper abs to actually lift my head up and then simultaneously ease off both the pelvis and the upper body to release. And I want you to feel your head sink into the hands and feel that chest open. So we'll do that again. Everyone go ahead and start with a deep inhale in. Arch the back. Slowly exhale out. Pause in neutral with an inhale in. And on the exhale out, start to tuck. Bring those elbows in a little bit to take the neck out of it, and then bring the head up using your upper abdominal muscles that depresses your chest and rounds your shoulders. Use it. Now teach it to slowly ease off. And that rectus abdominis, which depresses the chest and the shoulders, rounds the shoulders, it's going to let go. So you guys go ahead and do that about 3 more times. Okay, so go ahead and do that about 3 more times, really feeling the engagement of the back as you arch. Really feel the opening of the front body as you arch, really lengthening that front body as you arch back, and then as you exhale and you ease off of that arch, I want you to feel everything in the back start to relax, and then go back to neutral, and then remember, take a deep breath into neutral, and then on the exhale, start to tuck the pelvis towards the sternum. You want to imagine you're going to be curling into a ball, and when you can tuck as much as you can, you can't tuck anymore, use that upper abdominal muscle to then lift your head up and say, okay, now you're contracted. This is what depressed chest and rounded shoulders feels like, and now I'm going to slowly teach it to let go and ease off, and then just feel it melt. Okay, and then you guys do that about 1 more time, really feeling the contraction back and forth. Really recognizing that neck and shoulder pain isn't just neck and shoulder pain, it is actually the tucking of the rib cage that we're releasing first to allow our shoulders to then automatically lift up, and go back. Okay. So you guys go ahead and finish that one and just relax. And then if you want, you can sit up and you can kind of move your pelvis around a little bit. And I want you to just notice, do you already feel like you're less tucked forward? You should. Now, if you don't, that's fine. You're learning the movements. That's completely okay. But you should feel that just naturally, just sitting here. Once you move back and forth, you're just gonna sit here and you're gonna feel like you're not getting pulled forward as much. So that is the first key. I want you guys to always do this. Whenever you have neck and shoulder pain, don't go straight into neck and shoulder stretches. Go into this first. See how much that alleviates your pain, and then go into the movements that I'm gonna show you. Okay. So now we started out kind of like, I always like to break it down, kind of show you what we're releasing as we're doing it. So we were doing a little bit of this depressed chest, rounded shoulders. Now we've got rid of that depressed chest. Now let's address the rounded shoulders more. That's gonna be the pecs. So originally we were tucked in here, so that was tucked. Then our shoulders were getting drawn forward. So this is from typing or, going on our phones or relaxing, So this is what happens is our pecs actually get trained to go forward all the time, and then they become habitually tight. So what we have to do is cortically teach them how to re-lengthen out. So I'm gonna use the doorway for this. That's why I picked this space today. So I'm gonna open that. So you've probably seen these before where you get in a doorway and you stretch like this. Again, stretching's great, but it's really temporary. I want to show you something that you can do using your brain to make it more permanent and to make actual changes. And I also want to let you know that just stretching one way is only one way that you're actually opening up your chest. You want to hit it a couple different ways. So I always call this my snow angels, or low, medium, high. And I like rhymes, so you'll see that there's another one that comes into play after this. But so it's low, medium, and high. Those are the three positions. So you'll start low first. You'll take right or left foot, whichever one you feel comfortable. You're going to step forward. Find where you start to feel a pull or a tug in the shoulders here. I'll move my hair a little bit. And you're going to place your hands or your elbows, whatever you feel like. If you're in a narrow doorway, you can put your elbows. I'm in a wider one, so I'm going to put my hands. And instead of just going like this and pressing forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward a little bit, let my body go forward, and I'm going to feel where my body naturally stops and feels a pull. So instead of stretching into it and risking injury, I'm actually going to press my hands into the doorway. So I'm pressing my hands into the doorway. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to press my hands into the doorway, but I'm going to push a little bit harder forward. So I'm going to push. So I'm going to drop my press into the doorway to about a 7, and then I'm going to let my body fall forward. Okay, and then now I've found another spot that, okay, that's a bit tight. So now I'm going to go back to a 10, so I'm going to re-engage to a 10, press. Okay, now I recognize that those muscles that are tight are working. Now I'm going to continue using those muscles with a 7 pressure, and then I'm going to let my body drop forward. Great. And then let's do that one more time. So my hands are down low. I'm going to press in, re-engage to a 10. Continue to press in, but now I'm going to drop to a 7 engagement, always focusing on continuously pressing into the doorway, but letting my body drop forward. Great. And see how much more results you get by cortically using that muscle the whole time. So what you're doing is you're literally reteaching the tight areas that you're finding by keeping them engaged, but then reteaching them to lengthen out. So now you want to go up to about midway. You can put your elbows here. Same thing. I'm going to step forward. I'm pretty tight here, so I don't go as far. Now I'm going to press my elbows in like I'm bringing them together in front of me. So I'm going to imagine I'm going to try and bring my elbows in at a 10. Do that for about 5 seconds. Now drop it down to a 7, and then slowly ease off and go forward. Okay, now go ahead and press forward at a 10. And then keep pressing, but go to a 7. And then open up. Okay, and then one more time. Bring the elbows together at a 10. Gently ease off to a 7. And let your body go forward. Great. And you do that about 3 times. Get those shoulders rolling. Now go up high. And each time you're going to do this, you're going to feel this in different areas of your pecs and shoulders. So this is going to take, you're not just rounded forward, you're actually round and dipped. So this is going to undip you, and unround you. So that's why we're doing 3 different levels. So now we're going to go up high. use the hands again. Go forward, see where you stop. Okay, mine's again pretty short. So go ahead and press in with the hands at a 10. Continue to press. Now drop it down to a 7 pressure. Let your body win. This tends to be super tight up here, so you might not get much progress. So go ahead and press in at a 10. We're gonna hold this one a little bit longer because it is a tighter area. So hold it for maybe 10 seconds. Okay. And then slowly go to a 7. I'm always pressing still with the hands, but I'm gonna let myself drop forward. And then now let's do one more time. Press in with a 10. And now keep pressing with a 7 and then let your body go forward. And then relax. Okay, now feel those shoulders. Whew, those feel good. Okay, so yeah, so now we've unrounded the shoulders. Now this alone, if you do this, you've gone from, so we've done that. Now we've done here. Okay, now I want a more comfortable position. Now I've gone to here. Those shoulders are back. Now my neck is gonna automatically go from here to here to here. So, you know, traditionally massage therapists like myself, and we still will do this because it does give you I call it a window, but an orthopedic therapist will work a lot in the front of the neck because of all of this tension that we're working on today is pulling you forward. So you're gonna get a lot of front neck tension. So again, this is really great combo to use, the massage and the somatics, because you can really see how the neck gets pulled forward. But if we do reteaching of this body ourselves at home, we can stay out of pain and then use massage therapists like myself to help get you kind of reacquainted with your body and get you out of some pretty nasty situations you might have got yourself. Okay, so now that we've done the shoulders, what we do is we do the same principle, but we go with the neck. So you get in a comfortable position. I've already done my shoulders, I've already done my back or my mid body. I'm gonna go ahead and roll my pelvis a little bit, do a little arch and flatten, find a comfortable position, and same thing is you're gonna do, except low, medium, high, you're gonna do armpit, shoulder, sky. So at the side that I'm stretching away from or moving away from is the side that I'm working on. You wanna take the hand of the side you're working on. So I'm working on my left side. I'm gonna put my left hand underneath my glute. What that's going to do, it's going to cause me to anchor down my shoulder. I'm going to get more progress that way. So I'm anchoring down my shoulder with my hand. I'm going to take my right hand, bring it over my head, grab my ear like this. And it's not a pull. We're not pulling. What we're going to do is I want you to gently bring your head the opposite direction until you can feel this muscle right here pulling. Oh, actually, we need to look at the armpit first. So we're going to look at the armpit, and then we're going to feel this muscle. So the anterior scalene. We're going to feel that. Okay, so what I want you to do is stay in this position, same principle as the doorway. I'm going to press into my hand, going back towards the left, using my hand as a wall. So I'm going to press my hand or my head into my hand at about a 10. If it's too much, just go ahead and go like a little less pressure. Your 10 is unique, so whatever's comfortable. So I'm going to press in there for about 5 seconds. Now I'm going to consciously continue to press, but I'm going to drop it down to a 7. I'm going to pull slightly with my right hand. Okay, now I got a little bit of movement. Now I've found my next end point. I'm going to keep looking at my armpit. I'm going to bring my head back towards the left side using a 10. So I'm pressing into the hand. And now I'm going to drop down to a 7, but I'm going to pull a little bit with the right hand. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. Press with the 10 towards the left into the hand. That's acting as a wall or a feedback to press against. Continue to press with a 7 and then pull gently. Great. Okay, great mobility. I actually got some crackling in my ear as well. What we also don't realize is that when these muscles are really tight, they can also impact our hearing, our sinuses, our jaws, a lot of different things. It can cause problems with the trigeminal nerve. So yeah, you might feel some of that as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the shoulder. So now I'm going to move over to the shoulder. So now we're going to hit a little bit different area of the neck muscles, which is going to be a little bit more medial. So looking at the shoulder, put the hand over the head again, and you may need to go back to the back of the head a little bit more, not so much the ear. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to press back towards the left. Continue to press back towards the left at about a 7 and then pull gently. Okay, found my next end range. Push back with a 10. Hold it for about 5 seconds. Really feel that muscle moving and working. Continue to use that muscle at a 7 and then pull just gently. Great. And then one more time. Push back with a 10 into the hand. Continue to push with a 7 and then just let the hand win and pull. Great. Okay. You can move your head around, move your neck around a little bit. And then we'll do one more. I'm going to look at the sky now. This one might be hard for me to talk because there's a lot of tension here. Okay, so look upward. I'm looking up towards the ceiling. Hands behind the head. Press back into the hand. Gently keep pressing back, but I'm going to let my hand win. Okay, look up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing, but let the hand win. And now you're going to really feel it in the posterior neck or the back of the neck. Maybe a little bit into the front as well. And then press one more time. And then gently, slowly let it win. Okay. Now one thing I want to show you, let me fix my shirt here so it doesn't look like I'm cheating, is that if you look at my shoulders, you're going to notice, okay, I don't have a mirror, so you're going to notice that my left shoulder is going to be way farther down. I mean, I can feel it. Let me try not to. So you're going to notice that this is lengthened out a lot more. Now this shoulder seems shorter and higher. Gosh, I can even feel that. That's crazy. You can put your hand here and palpate that side that you worked on compared to the other side that you haven't worked on. Kind of feel the difference. And so you've loosened up that neck and shoulder. Now, if you feel like it's a little tense or like, ugh, that was a little irritating, just don't press so hard. That's the thing about somatics. It should never hurt. It should be comfortable. It should be easy, as in it's not painful. It is difficult because it does take a lot of focus. But if you feel like you did a bit much, just next time when you do this practice or you do these movements at home, just don't go so hard. Okay, so we don't want to be lopsided, so let's go to the other side. And we're going to put now I'm working on my right side, so I'm going to put my right hand underneath my glute, take my left hand, put it on the ear, and then start looking at the armpit. So looking at the armpit, go ahead and press towards the right side for about 5 seconds. Gently ease off and keep pressing, but at a 7 and pull. Again, go towards the right side at a 10 for about 5 seconds. Continuously press with a 7 towards the right side, but then pull a little bit with the hand. Find your next end range of motion. Then one more time, press back towards the right. Keep pressing, bring it down to a 7. And then relax. At home, you'll probably want to go more slow too. This is a teaching video, so at home, go a little bit slower. Also, if you feel like you need to do more than 3, that's perfectly okay. It's about quality, not quantity. So, okay, now we're going to look at our shoulder. So shoulder, different area of the anterior neck. Going to bring it down to wherever's comfortable, which is about here. Going to start engaging that muscle I feel is tight, so I'm going to focus on that muscle to press into my hand. Continuously press into that hand, but then now don't press so hard, and then pull a little bit more with the arm and hand on the left. Find your next end range motion. Use a 10 force to press back towards the right, into the hand, focusing on the muscles that are tight doing the work, and then continuously use those muscles, but drop it down to a 7 and pull a little bit with the left hand. And then one more time, press towards the opposite direction into the hand. And then keep using that muscle, but take it to a lower level of pressing, and then gently bring it towards the opposite direction. Okay, now relax. Move your head around a little bit. You might get some pops and cracks. As the neck starts to open up, you'll get something called spontaneous alignments. That's when your muscles start to reposition and become more supple. So what do the bones naturally do? The structure now can go back to its most comfortable position. So you'll get something called spontaneous alignments, because the muscles are what is what's causing subluxations. So once those are released, then your muscles or your bones can go back to where they're meant to be. Okay, so last one, we want to look up towards the ceiling, put our hand over the head, make sure your hand is still underneath your glute on the opposite side, and we're going to look at the ceiling. Press out towards the opposite direction into the hand. Gently, slowly ease off. Add a 7, you're going to keep pressing and then lengthen. Press out with a 10. Gently, slowly go down to a 7 and lengthen with the hand. And then one more time, press out with a 10. Continue to focus on pressing, pressing, pressing. Drop it down to a 7, but pull a little bit harder. And then slowly relax. Okay, move that neck around a little bit. So the most complicated thing about these movements is to stay pressing while lengthening. So once you start to really get that down, then you can really start to open up a lot of doors of how to release any area in your body. Okay, so now we've done both sides of the neck, we've done the shoulders, we've done the core. So now our necks should start to be looking really good. You might have a little tension in here. I have a little bit just from maybe pulling too hard, but just move your head around and that starts to go away. But you've gained a lot more length here, and then in the shoulders. So go ahead and go back to your comfortable state, and you can just do a couple arches and flattens. And then really feel your body find that neutral space. Okay, and then last but not least for the neck and shoulder opening to help improve posture is the occipital muscles. So the occipital muscles are the muscles at the base of the skull that support your head. Now, I get people all the time that ask me, why does this hurt so bad? Why do I have migraines? Look at your posture and what has to happen and what those muscles have to do whenever you're in that posture. Okay, so I'm going to throw myself again back into that fight or flight or terrible posture. So my head is rolling forward. These muscles' only job is to look up towards the horizon. So that means, like, if you had great posture, like, let me find it here again, great posture, all it would have to do is kind of do that, slight movement. I'm just going to look up a little bit, I'm driving, I just need to move my head. Now, when you throw yourself into a really terrible posture like this, or the computer posture, what they call the tech neck, you're going to bring yourself forward, and then look how much my head has to work to do that. Like, now, these poor little occipital muscles that are meant to move my head just a slight bit when it's in good posture are really cramping all the time. So again, the main problem is the core and then working our way up, but now these muscles have taken a huge load of work, and we need to also teach them how to let go. So what you do, I'll do this sideways because it's a little bit easier to understand. You're going to take your hands, clasp them together like this, put it behind your head, right at the base of the skull. So you should feel this protuberance here, or this little kind of crest where your skull starts. That's where your occipital muscles lie. That's what cramps C1, C2 in your atlas and causes migraines and a whole slew of other problems, including foggy headedness and things. So you're going to put your hands right at the base of the skull. I'm going to actually, like we do with everything, I'm going to engage the occipital muscles back into my hands, and then I'm going to slowly release them. So it's going to be engaged back. Okay, now I'm continuously pressing back, but now I'm going to drop it down. With the occipitals, I like to drop it down to about a 5 force, but I'm pressing back the whole time, but I'm going to now press my hands down. Okay, now I'm going to re-engage, press back. Like, I'm going to focus on the little tiny muscles at the base of my skull doing the work, and then slowly, gently go down to a 5, and lengthen, and then press back, engage those occipital muscles, focus on using them, and continuously use them, but then press and tuck the chin and lengthen that posterior muscle. And then I'll do one more time, press back, don't hurt yourself, press gently, and then slowly, gently ease off and lengthen. Okay. So do that a couple times and then relax and feel the difference. You can do some head movements, gentle head movements after. Again, you may get some occipital, now higher adjustments into the upper spine, into the cervical area. Also, once you start to get really acquainted with this, I want you to start playing with it. So like sometimes what I'll do is I'll have like a bit of tension right here. You can do the same thing, you know, and press your hand into head into the hand and kind of find where it hits that spot. Oh, like right there. And then same thing, you're gonna press into the hand and then continuously press, you know, and then you can actually use your own resistance. Press into the hand, keep pressing, but now I'm gonna let my hand win to really target those specific areas in that posterior neck along the occipitals to release what you want. So what I want you guys to do is try to do these daily and see how your posture changes. And then know that whenever a good posture isn't this. Because what am I doing when I sit like this? I'm engaging all of my posterior back muscles. I'm arching my back. I'm not loosening here. I'm just forcing everything back. So what I want you to do is do these movements that I showed you. Also add the arch and flatten at the beginning if you can. And then you sit down after you do them. You do a couple arches and flattens. You're gonna find your sits bones, which are the two bones at the bottom. You're gonna find those where you feel like you're center. So let me do that a couple times. And then this is correct posture. So it isn't some kind of, it is neutral spine, comfortable spine, not propping or forcing yourself up in a certain direction, forward or back. So do this at home. I hope it provides you guys with some relief. If you have some particular issues with neck and shoulder pain, please comment below and I'll get back to you. And I do want to let you know that I'm doing the self-care care packages right now. They're $50 or $100. You can buy them on our website at the very top. If you book online, you can go under products or there's some link on our Facebook. But what those are is I'm designing packages based on what issues you're having on those price points. So we have a little talk, we find out what's going on with you in particular, we discuss what you want to see in your box, and then we go from there, and then I throw in a couple surprises. So usually get them within a week because as you know, some of the postage stuff is a little slow, but within a week is about what the goal is, and they're a great option for some self-care at home. But if you guys need me, you know where to find me. You can comment below. Also check out my YouTube. Y'all have a great day.